All right, let's get right into it. We're going to break down a really powerful blueprint for life, and it's all inspired by one of history's great builders, Andrew Carnegie. But look, this isn't just about getting rich. It's about something much deeper, how to actually design a life that has real purpose and meaning.
So let's kick things off with a pretty big question, one that really gets to the core of everything we're talking about today. What is wealth really for? I mean, is the whole point just to stack up more and more, or is there a bigger, more interesting game we should be playing? This is the question that unlocks this whole way of thinking.
And this right here shows the fundamental shift in mindset. You know, on the left, you've got the standard view of wealth. It's all about accumulation, more money, more stuff, just making a number go up. But the approach we're exploring, the one inspired by Carnegie, flips that entirely. Wealth isn't the number itself, it's a tool. It's a tool that gives you more choices, more freedom, and at the end of the day, the ability to have a bigger impact.
Just a quick heads up on where this is coming from. Carnegie was writing all this stuff over 100 years ago, so of course he wasn't using modern terms like financial independence. What we're looking at here is a modern translation, taking his timeless wisdom and adapting it into a practical framework that actually works in the world we live in right now.
So how do we actually do this? Well, the best way to think about it is as the builder's journey. It's a super clear 3-stage blueprint that literally takes you from the ground up. And let's be clear, this isn't some get-rich-quick thing. It's a solid plan for building something that's meant to last.
And here's the roadmap for that journey. It's really simple. Step 1, you lay the foundation, and that's all about personal growth. Then, step 2, you use that strong foundation to build your freedom, which is what we call financial independence. And finally, once you have that freedom, you get to step 3, designing your legacy through meaningful, purposeful contribution. You see how each stage just builds right on top of the last one?
Okay, let's dig into stage 1, laying the foundation. This is absolutely critical. It's all the internal work. You know, before you can build anything big and impressive on the outside, you have to build yourself up on the inside first.
This quote just nails the mindset. Starting out with not much? Well, that's not a weakness at all. It's actually the strongest possible base you can have, because it forces you to get resourceful, to become disciplined, to really focus. And guess what? Those are the exact qualities you're going to need for all the success that comes later.
So what is this foundation made of? Well, it's these 4 stones. First up, self-discipline. You've got to master your habits before you can ever hope to master your money. It's that simple. Second, continuous learning. Nobody's going to do it for you. Your education is your own responsibility. Third is patience. You know, consistent hard work is what puts you in a position to get what other people just call lucky. And finally, character. Your values. That's your real capital. That's the compass that guides every single financial decision you make.
Now let's move on to stage 2 and see how this all comes together. So once that foundation is rock solid, you can start actually building your financial freedom. This is where you take all those internal principles and start applying them to the real world.
Okay, so Carnegie had this really famous piece of advice that honestly gets misunderstood all the time. He said, put all your eggs in one basket and watch that basket. This slide is so important because it clarifies who that advice is for. If you're an active entrepreneur, a builder, then yes, it means concentrate all your energy, go deep, and become a true expert in one thing. But if you're a passive investor, the modern advice to diversify is still the way to go. It's all about knowing which hat you're wearing. At the absolute heart of stage 2 is this simple but incredibly powerful equation. Your goal is not to chase money. It's not. Your goal is to create real, actual value by solving a real problem for people. When you do that, and you do it well, wealth just follows. It's a natural byproduct. The value always has to come before the reward.
And this brings us right back to that idea of discipline. I mean, look at this. A builder's budget looks completely different from a typical consumer's budget. See that huge chunk, 60%, going toward investments and assets? This isn't about punishing yourself. It's about making a conscious choice to prioritize building your freedom over buying temporary stuff. It's about living simply now so you can build something truly great.
And here's exactly why that budget matters so much. The ultimate goal, the real game changer, is to shift from just trading your time for a paycheck to building assets that make money for you. That's the only way to get to true freedom. A freedom that doesn't depend on how many hours you clock in, but on the smart systems you've built.
And that freedom, that's what brings us to the final, and I think the most meaningful stage of this whole journey, designing your legacy. This is the whole point.
This is where wealth finally finds its true, ultimate purpose.
If you think about it, your focus in life naturally changes over time, right? When you're young, it's all about learning skills and earning a living. Then, in your mid-career, the focus shifts to building your assets and accumulating your resources. But the final act, the grand finale, is about something way bigger. It's about giving back and using everything you've built to influence the world for the better.
Yeah, Carnegie did not pull any punches on this one. He saw hoarding wealth just for the sake of it as a total failure. He believed that a life spent just chasing more completely misses the point. Having wealth creates a responsibility to do something good with it.
And he had very strong opinions on how you should give. On the left, you see what he'd call misguided charity, the kind that might create dependency because it only treats the symptoms. But on the right, you have effective philanthropy. This is all about creating opportunity, giving people the tools they need to grow themselves. It's the whole teach a man to fish idea. You solve the root problems instead of just putting a bandage on them.
So, let's put it all together now. What's the final takeaway? What is the builder's final blueprint? We're going to boil all these ideas down into a clear set of principles you can actually use.
Here it is, plain and simple. First, always focus on creating value, and money will follow. Second, build your character first, your self-discipline, before you try to build a huge bank account. Third, concentrate your energy. Become truly great at something. Fourth, always remember that money is just a tool for freedom and impact, not the destination itself. And finally, number 5, the real way to measure a successful life isn't by what you have, but by the positive contribution you've made to the world.
And that leaves us with one last, really important question. This isn't just some interesting idea from history, it's a call to action. You now have the blueprint. So the question is, what are you going to build with it?